The alarms on the Celestial Seeker screamed as Jia ran through the corridor. Red lights flashed everywhere. The ship shook hard as another blast hit it. Jia held the wall to stay on her feet. All crew to escape pods. The captain's voice cracked over the speakers. We are under attack. This is not a drill. Jia was the lead engineer of the science team. She had been checking the engine when the pirates attacked without warning. Now she was the only one from her team still alive. The others had been in the lab when it took a direct hit. The ship rocked again. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Jia ducked and kept moving. The escape pod bay was just ahead. She could see the door, but it was getting harder to breathe. Smoke filled the corridor. When she reached the bay, she saw most pods were already gone. Only one remained. She jumped inside and strapped herself in. Her hands moved fast over the controls. Launch sequence started, said the pod's computer in a calm voice. The small craft shot away from the dying ship just as another explosion tore through it. Through the viewport, Jia watched her home for the past 3 years break apart in silent bursts of fire. Tears filled her eyes, but she had no time to cry. The pod systems beeped a warning. An uncharted planet was close by. The navigation system was damaged in the escape. The pod was being pulled in by the planet's gravity. Emergency landing protocols engaged, the computer announced. Damage to steering systems detected. Full control unavailable. Jia tried to override the system, but nothing worked. The pod began to heat up as it entered the atmosphere. The hull glowed red around the edges of the viewport. She closed her eyes and gripped the harness tight. The impact came hard and fast. Metal tore, glass cracked. Pain shot through Jia's body as she was thrown against the restraints. Then everything went black. When she opened her eyes, it was quiet. Too quiet. The pod had stopped moving. Thin beams of light came through cracks in the hull. Jia tried to move but gasped at the sharp pain in her side. She looked down and saw a deep cut along her ribs. Blue blood soaked her uniform. She reached for the medical kit and pressed a healing patch to the wound. It would stop the bleeding for now. Looking around the pod, she saw that almost everything was damaged. The main console sparked. Life support was working, but the display showed it was on backup power. Jia limped to the hatch and looked through the small window. Outside was a strange world. Purple plants swayed in the wind. The sky had an orange tint. It was beautiful, but also terrifying. The air sensor on the wall showed that the atmosphere had oxygen, but also gases that her kind couldn't breathe for long. She was trapped inside the pod. She checked the communication system. It was badly damaged, but not beyond repair. Jia was an engineer after all. If she could fix it enough to send out a distress signal, maybe someone would find her. Think, Jia, she told herself. You're still alive. That's what matters. She looked at the food and water supplies. If she was careful, they would last about 2 months. She had to fix the communication array before then. Jia gathered the tools that had survived the crash. She pulled apart panels and examined the damaged circuits. Many parts were beyond repair, but she could use pieces from less important systems. As the alien sun began to set, casting long shadows through the viewport, Jia worked by the glow of emergency lights. She was alone on an unknown planet, far from any charted space. No one knew she was here. No one was looking for her, but she wouldn't give up. She would fix the beacon. She would survive. She had to. 7 days had passed since the crash. Jia sat by the small viewport, watching the strange world outside. The pod was her prison and her only protection. She could not go outside without a suit, and her suit had been damaged in the crash. Each morning, she checked her supplies. Food was getting low. Water was running out faster than she had planned. The air filters were working, but they would not last forever. Day 7, she said as she recorded her daily log. The distress beacon is almost ready. I had to use parts from the heating system. Nights will be cold now. but at least someone might hear me. Gia looked at her reflection in a broken piece of glass. Her blue skin was paler than usual. The cut on her side was healing, but slowly. She was tired all the time now. She turned back to her work. The communication array needed just a few more fixes. Her fingers moved carefully, connecting wires and testing circuits. If she made a mistake, she might lose her only chance to call for help. Outside, strange creatures moved in the purple forest. Some flew like birds but had 6 wings. Others crawled on many legs. Ja had named a few of them. The 6-winged flyers were sixers. The many-legged crawlers were creepers. It helped her feel less alone. A loud bang on the hull made her jump. A large creature with thick fur and 3 eyes pressed its face against the viewport. It sniffed the glass, then hit the pod with heavy claws. "Go away," Ja shouted, even though the creature couldn't hear her. She banged on the inside of the hull. The noise scared the beast, and it ran back into the forest. Jia's heart raced. What if it came back with others? What if they broke in? That night, she could not sleep. The pod grew cold without the heating system. She wrapped herself in emergency blankets and shivered. Strange sounds came from outside. Calls and cries she had never heard before. "I miss home," she whispered to the empty pod. "I miss my friends." All her friends were dead now. The pirates had made sure of that. Ja wondered why the pirates had attacked. The Celestial Seeker was just a science vessel. It had no weapons, no valuable cargo. Just knowledge. Perhaps that was enough for some. The next morning, Gia finished the distress beacon. It was not pretty, but it would work. She connected the final wire and held her breath as she turned it on. A small green light began to blink. The beacon was working. It would send her signal far into space. But would anyone hear it? Would anyone care? Gia added a message to the signal. It contained basic information about her species, her ship, and what had happened. She included numbers and simple math problems. Any intelligent life form would recognize them as signs of thinking beings. Weeks passed. Ja marked each day on the wall with a small line. 21 lines. Then 42. Then 63. Her food was almost gone. She started eating 1 meal every 2 days. She was always hungry, always tired. The pod systems began to fail one by one. First, the air recycler started making strange noises. Then the lights in one section went out. Ja fixed what she could, but some problems were beyond her skills or her tools. At night, she looked at the stars through the viewport. Somewhere out there was her home world. Somewhere were other Diraxi like her, but they were so far away. Too far to help. "Please," she whispered to the blinking green light of her beacon. "Please let someone hear me." But the universe was vast and empty. The chance of anyone finding her signal was so small. Still, Ja would not give up. As long as the beacon was working, there was hope. And hope was all she had left. Han yawned as he watched the screens at his workstation. The Mars listening post was quiet, as usual. He had been here for 6 months now. And each day was the same. Listen to space. Report anything unusual. So far, there had been nothing unusual at all. 2 more hours, he said to himself. Then I can sleep. The listening post had been built to catch signals from deep space. It was part of Earth's early warning system. If any threats came toward human space, the post would hear them first. But most days, all Han heard was the normal noise of stars and planets. His friend Jin walked in with 2 cups of coffee. "Anything exciting?" Jin asked, putting a cup next to Han's keyboard. "Same as always," Han said. "Just space being space." Jin nodded and sat at his own station. They worked in silence, watching their screens and sipping their coffee. An hour passed. Han was almost asleep when a small beep came from his computer. He sat up straight and looked at the screen. A new signal had been detected. It was very faint, coming from far beyond the edge of human space. "Aid, did you hear that?" Han asked. Jin looked over. Hear what? I got a signal. It's weak, but it's there. Jin came to look at Han's screen. Probably just random noise. We get that all the time. But Han wasn't so sure. The pattern seemed too regular to be random. He adjusted his equipment to focus on the signal better. I'm going to record it, he said. Something about this feels different. Jin shrugged and went back to his station. Your time to waste, I guess. When Han's shift ended, he should have gone to bed. Instead, he took a copy of the signal to his small room. He set up his personal computer and began to study the pattern more closely. The signal repeated every 10 minutes. Each time, it sent the same series of beeps and pauses. Han recorded several hours of it and ran it through different analysis programs. One program showed that the beeps formed a pattern of prime numbers: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. These were not random. Someone or something was sending this signal on purpose. Han didn't sleep that night. He worked on the signal until his next shift started. When he arrived at his station, the chief operator, Dr. Park, was waiting. You reported an unusual signal yesterday, Dr. Park said. Let's hear it. Han played the recording. The beeps filled the room. Sounds like cosmic background radiation to me, Dr. Park said. We get this kind of thing all the time. Sir, with respect, this isn't background radiation, Han said. Look at the pattern. He showed Dr. Park his analysis. The older man looked at it, but didn't seem impressed. It's interesting, but not worth our time, Dr. Park said. We need to focus on our primary mission. Real threats, not ghost signals from nowhere. Han wanted to argue, but he knew it wouldn't help. Dr. Park walked away, and Han returned to his regular duties, but he couldn't stop thinking about the signal. That night, and every night after, Han spent his free time studying the signal. He created better programs to clean up the sound. Slowly, more patterns emerged. There were mathematical sequences. There were what looked like coordinates, and buried deep in the signal was something that looked like a simple picture. Han worked for days to pull the picture out. When he finally saw it, he nearly fell out of his chair. It was crude but clear, a drawing of a ship and a planet. Someone was stranded. Someone needed help. Now he just had to convince everyone else that he was right. Han stood in front of 5 senior officers at the Mars Command Center. His hands were sweaty as he held his datapad. The room was too cold, but his face felt hot. You have 5 minutes, Technician Han, said Commander Lee. Make it count. Han took a deep breath and began. 3 weeks ago, I found a signal from deep space. At first, it seemed like normal space noise. But I studied it more. The signal has patterns that only a thinking being could make. He showed them his first slides. They were charts of the signal patterns and the prime numbers he had found. Look here, he said, pointing to the repeating sequence. These are prime numbers. They repeat in the same order every time. This is not random. This is a message. Messages need a sender, said Officer Kim. Are you suggesting aliens? I don't know who sent it, Han said. But someone did. And there's more. He showed them the picture he had found in the signal. It was simple but clear. A small ship near a planet. I believe someone is stranded, Han said. They need help. We should send a ship to check. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Commander Lee laughed. You want us to send a rescue ship based on some static you found. Do you know how much a deep space mission costs? I know it's expensive, Han said. But what if someone is really out there? What if they're dying while we do nothing? Your time is up, Commander Lee said. Thank you for your interesting ideas. Han left the room feeling defeated. No one believed him. No one would help. But he wouldn't give up. That night, he called his old friend Mina. They had studied together at the Space Academy. Now she worked in the science division on Earth. I need your help, he told her. I found something important, but no one will listen. Mina was always kind. She agreed to look at his data even though it was late. Han sent everything to her and waited. 3 days later, Minna called back. Han, this is amazing, she said. I showed it to some people in my department. They're interested. Hope filled Han's chest. Really? They believe it's a real signal. They want to meet you, Minna said. Can you come to Earth next week? Han hadn't been back to Earth in over a year. He would need permission to leave his post. Dr. Park would not be happy. I'll find a way, he said. Getting time off was not easy. Dr. Park said no at first. But Han didn't give up. He worked extra shifts. He found someone to cover for him. He even offered to work double shifts when he returned. Finally, Dr. Park agreed. Han could have 1 week on Earth. The journey to Earth took 2 days. Han hardly slept. He kept checking his data, making sure everything was perfect for the meeting. When he arrived, Minna was waiting. She looked tired but excited. I can't believe what you found, she said as they walked to the Science Division building. If you're right, this could change everything. The meeting room was full of people. Scientists, military officers, and government officials all wanted to hear about the signal. Han felt small among them, but Minna gave him a reassuring smile. You can do this, she whispered. Han stood up and began his presentation. This time, he spoke with more confidence. This time, people listened. They asked questions. They wanted to know more. At the end, a woman in a Space Command uniform stood up. I've heard enough, she said. This signal is worth investigating. I'm authorizing a mission to the coordinates embedded in the message. Han couldn't believe it. They were going to help. Someone was finally going to help. Thank you, he said, his voice almost breaking. Thank you for believing me. The ship Horizon sat in Earth's main space dock. It was the fastest rescue ship humans had ever built. Workers moved all around it, loading supplies and checking systems. Han stood at a viewing window, watching the activity. He still could not believe that his discovery had led to this. A whole rescue mission because of a signal he found. Amazing, isn't it? Said a voice behind him. Han turned to see Captain Ta, the commander of the mission. He was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had been to deep space many times. Yes, sir, Han said. I never thought they would send such a big ship. When someone calls for help, we answer, Captain Ta said. That's what humans do. 2 days later, Han moved into his small room on the Horizon. He had never been on a deep space mission before. He was both excited and scared. The crew was made up of 20 people. There was Captain Ta, Dr. Minna, who would study any alien life they found. Sung, the chief engineer, and many others. All were experts in their fields. Han felt out of place among them. Don't worry, Minna told him at dinner that night. You're the most important person on this mission. Without you, we wouldn't even know about the signal. The next morning, the Horizon left Earth. The ship moved fast, using its new engines to travel at speeds that were once thought impossible. Still, the journey would take 3 months. The signal had come from very far away. During those months, Han worked every day to learn more about the signal. He used the ship's better equipment to clean up the message even more. I found something new, he told Captain Ta one day. There are pieces of what look like engine designs in the signal. Whoever sent this knows a lot about space travel. Good work, Captain Ta said. The more we know, the better prepared we'll be when we arrive. Life on the ship settled into a routine. The crew ate together, worked together, and spent free time playing games or watching old movies from Earth. They became like a family. But as they got closer to their target, people became more serious. No one knew what they would find. Would the sender of the signal be friendly? Would they still be alive after all this time? 2 weeks before they would reach the planet, Captain Ta called everyone to the main room. This mission is now entering its most critical phase, he said. We are going to a place no human has ever been. We might meet beings no human has ever seen. We must be careful, but we must also be kind. We are here to help, not to fear." The crew cheered. They had trained for this. They were ready. Hans spent more and more time at his station, watching for any changes in the signal. One day, he noticed something. "Captain," he called out, "the signal is getting weaker. It's like its power source is dying." Captain Tay's face became serious. "Can we go any faster?" he asked Sung. The engineer shook his head. "We're at top speed already. Pushing harder might damage the engines." "Then we stay at this speed," Captain Ta said. "And we hope we're not too late." Han looked at the star map. The planet was still so far away. What if they arrived only to find the sender of the signal had died waiting for help? He couldn't bear the thought. That night, Han couldn't sleep. He went to the viewing deck and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, someone was waiting. Someone had been waiting for a very long time. "We're coming," he whispered to the vast emptiness of space. "Just hold on a little longer. We're coming to help you." Day 143. Jia marked another line on the wall of her pod. The small space that had once felt like a prison now felt like the only safe place in a dangerous world. Outside, the seasons had changed twice. The purple plants had lost their leaves, grown new ones, and now were changing color again. Jia looked at her food supplies. Only 3 meal packs left. She had been eating one small meal every 3 days for weeks now. Her body was thin and weak. Her blue skin had turned a pale gray color. The pod systems were failing one by one. The water recycler made strange noises. The air filter worked only half the time. Jia had to fix it every day using parts from less important systems. Status report, day 143. She said into her log. Her voice was soft and tired. Beacon still working. Power at 12%. 3 meal packs left. Water recycler failing. She paused, then added, "I don't think anyone is coming." The beacon was her only hope. She had built it from broken parts and kept it running for months. But it used power, and power was now very low. Soon, she would have to choose between the beacon and life support. Jia moved to the viewport. The 3-eyed creatures she called Watchers were back again. 5 of them stood at the edge of the forest, looking at her pod. They came most days now. They were curious but hadn't tried to break in yet. "Hello, friends," she said weakly. "Still watching me? Still wondering what I am?" One of the creatures moved closer to the pod. It touched the metal with its claws. Jia held her breath. The creature sniffed the pod, then moved back to join the others. That night, Jia had bad dreams. She saw her friends dying on the Celestial Seeker again. She heard their screams. She saw the pirates' ships firing. She woke up covered in sweat, her heart racing. "It's okay," she told herself. "You're safe. You're alive. But for how much longer?" The next morning, the main power cell died. The lights went out. The air filter stopped. Only the emergency lights still worked, casting a dim red glow over everything. Jia didn't panic. She had prepared for this. She went to the medical bay and took out the small power cell from the scanning machine. She didn't need it anymore. Her wounds had healed long ago. She carried the cell to the main console and connected it. The lights flickered on, but dimmer than before. The air filter began to work again, but made a grinding noise. It wouldn't last long. Then she checked the beacon. The green light was still blinking, still sending her call for help into the empty vastness of space. Jia ate half of 1 meal pack. She needed strength. Then she began to look for other systems she could take apart for power. The food cooler, the waste management system, the lighting in the sleeping area. Anything that wasn't keeping her alive right now. As she worked, she talked to herself. It helped her feel less alone. "Do you remember the sunsets on Homeworld?" she asked as she pulled wires from the food cooler. How the twin moons would rise just as the sun went down. How the sky turned green at night. She smiled at the memory. When I get home, I'll never complain about night duty again. I'll volunteer for it, just to see those moons again. But deep down, John knew her chances of getting home were growing smaller each day. Her body was failing. Her pod was failing. Even if someone received her signal now, they might not reach her in time. That night, as she lay in her bunk looking at the emergency lights, she made a decision. If no one came in the next 10 days, she would turn off the beacon. She would use the remaining power to make her last days comfortable. It would be a kind of giving up, but also a kind of peace. She closed her eyes and tried to sleep. In her dreams, she was home again, watching the twin moons rise in a green sky. The Horizon entered orbit around the strange planet. The crew gathered on the bridge, looking at the screens showing the world below. It was beautiful, with purple forests and orange skies. "Signal source located," said the ship's computer. "It comes from a valley in the northern area." Captain Tai turned to his crew. "Prepare the landing shuttle. Dr. Minna, Han, Sung, you're with me. We need to move fast. The signal is very weak now." The four of them put on their spacesuits. The suits were designed to work in many different kinds of air. They didn't know what they would find, so they had to be ready for anything. The shuttle was small but fast. It dropped from the Horizon and flew toward the planet. Han sat by the window, watching the ground come closer. His heart beat fast. After all this time, he would finally see who had sent the signal. "Look there," Sung said, pointing. "Something shiny in that valley." They flew lower. There, among the purple trees, was a small metal object. It was clearly not from this world. It was a crashed ship or pod of some kind. "That's it," Han said. "That's where the signal is coming from." Captain Ta landed the shuttle a safe distance away. They checked their suits one last time and stepped out onto the alien soil. The air was thin but breathable for humans. Still, they kept their helmets on. As they walked toward the pod, 5 large creatures with 3 eyes watched from the trees. The creatures made low sounds, but didn't come closer. "Local wildlife," Dr. Minna said. "They seemed curious, but not aggressive." The pod was small, barely big enough for one person. It was damaged, with parts of the hull torn open. The design was like nothing they had seen before. Han found the source of the signal, a small device attached to the outside of the pod. It was made from many different parts, all put together in a clever way. "Someone built this from scraps," he said. "It's amazing it worked at all." Captain Tai approached the main door of the pod. "Hello," he called. "We're from Earth. We heard your signal." There was no answer. "The air seal looks intact," Sung said, checking the door. "There might still be someone inside." Captain Ta nodded. "Open it." Sung worked on the door controls. After a few minutes, there was a hiss of air, and the door slowly opened. The inside of the pod was dark, with only dim red emergency lights. The air that came out was stale but breathable. They turned on their suit lights and looked inside. There, curled up on a small bed, was a figure. Its skin was pale blue, and it looked thin and weak. It wore a torn uniform of some kind. Its eyes were closed. "Hello," Dr. Minna said softly. "Can you hear us?" The figure's eyes opened slowly. They were large and purple, with no whites like human eyes. The being looked at them for a long moment, then tried to sit up. "Easy," Dr. Minna said. "You're very weak." The being looked at each of them, then at their suits and equipment. It said something in a language none of them understood. Its voice was soft and raspy. Han stepped forward. "We heard your signal," he said, pointing to himself and then to the sky. "We came to help." The being's eyes widened. It reached out a thin hand toward Han. When their fingers touched, Han felt a strange connection, like a current of energy passing between them. "Gia," the being said, pointing to itself. "Gia. Gia," Han repeated. "I'm Han." Jia's eyes filled with tears. After so long alone, after nearly giving up hope, help had finally come. And from beings she had never even imagined would hear her call. Captain Tai spoke into his comm. Medical team to the shuttle now. We've found a survivor. Jia sat in the medical bay of the Horizon *. It had been 2 weeks since the humans had found her. Her strength was slowly coming back. The human doctors had studied her carefully and found food that her body could use. Each day, she felt a little better. "Good morning," Han said as he entered the room. He came every day to see her. "How are you feeling today?" Jia smiled. "Better," she said in simple human words. She was learning their language quickly. The humans had a machine that helped her brain understand basic words. For harder ideas, they still used pictures and hand signs. "I'd bring you something," Han said. He held out a small book with pictures of Earth. "To show you my home." Jia took the book carefully. She turned the pages, looking at the blue oceans, green forests, and white mountains of Earth. It was so different from her world, which had purple plants and orange skies. "Beautiful," she said. "Your world is beautiful." "Tell me about your world," Han asked. He sat in a chair next to her bed. Jia thought for a moment, looking for the right words. "My world has 2 moons. Sky is green at night. Cities float on big oceans." She used her hands to show floating cities on water. Han's eyes got wide. "Floating cities. That's amazing technology." Jia nodded. "My people good at building. Good at space travel." "That's why your beacon was so clever," Han said. "You built it from broken parts, but it still worked across half the galaxy." Jia felt proud. Then her face got sad. "My ship gone. My friends gone. Pirates attacked us." Han put his hand on hers. "I'm sorry about your friends, but you're not alone now." Later that day, Captain Tai and Dr. Minna came to see Jia. They brought a data pad to show her something. "We sent a message to Earth about you," Captain Ta said. "Everyone is very excited to meet you. You are the first being from another world that humans have ever met." Jia looked surprised. "First, but space has many people, many worlds with thinking beings." The humans looked at each other. This was big news for them. "We have not met any others yet," Dr. Minna explained. "We are still new to deep space travel." Jia nodded slowly. "My people have traveled stars for many years. We have met 12 other thinking kinds. Would you teach us about them?" Dr. Minna asked. "This would help humans understand the galaxy better." "Yes," Jia said. "I will teach. And you will teach me about humans." Over the next few days, Jia spent time with different crew members. She showed Sung how her pod's engines worked. His eyes lit up when he saw the designs. "This is so advanced," he said. "This could help human ships go much faster." With Dr. Minna, Jia shared what she knew about the 12 other species her people had met. Some were friendly, some were not. Some looked like plants, others like rocks with eyes. But Jia spent the most time with Han. He was the one who had heard her call for help when no one else believed. He was the one who had never given up. "Why did you keep trying?" she asked him one day. "Why did you not stop when others said no?" Han thought for a moment. "Because someone needed help," he said simply. "And humans don't leave people alone when they need help. Not if we can do something." Jia looked at him with her large purple eyes. "My people were wrong about humans," she said. "We thought you were simple, not ready for space. But you are kind. You are brave. You came so far just to help one person you didn't even know." Han smiled. "That's what makes us human." The Horizon approached Earth after its long journey home. Jia stood at the main viewport, watching the blue planet grow larger. She wore a simple Earth-style outfit that Dr. Minna had given her. Her health was fully back now. Her blue skin glowed, and her purple eyes were bright and clear. "It's beautiful," she said to Han, who stood beside her. "Even more beautiful than the pictures." "Wait until you see it up close," Han said with a smile. "The oceans, the mountains, the cities. There's so much to show you. Captain Todd joined them at the viewport. Earth is excited to meet you, Jia. You're the most important visitor we've ever had. Jia looked down. I am just one person. Not so important. You are to us, Han said. You're the first proof that we're not alone in the universe, and you've shared so much knowledge with us already. Over the past month, Jia had taught the humans many things. Better engine designs, new ways to recycle air and water, and information about other species in the galaxy. In return, the humans had shown her their music, their art, their food, and their many different cultures. Earth Command calling *Horizon*, said a voice over the ship's speakers. Please prepare for landing procedures. As the ship entered Earth's atmosphere, Jia felt both excited and nervous. What would her life be like on this new world? Would all humans be as kind as the crew of the *Horizon*? The ship landed at the main spaceport. Through the windows, Jia could see a crowd of people waiting. There were officials in uniforms, scientists in white coats, and many reporters with cameras. Are you ready? Han asked. Jia took a deep breath and nodded. When the doors opened, the sunlight of Earth touched Jia's face for the first time. The air was warm and smelled of growing things. The gravity felt a little stronger than she was used to, but not uncomfortable. Cameras flashed. People gasped when they saw her blue skin and purple eyes. But there were smiles too, and some people waved in welcome. A woman in a formal uniform stepped forward. On behalf of all Earth, I welcome you to our world, Jia of Dorax. We are honored by your presence. Jia bowed her head in the way of her people. I thank Earth for saving my life. I am honored by your welcome. The next few days were busy. Jia met with Earth leaders, scientists, and teachers. Everyone wanted to learn from her. Everyone wanted to tell her about Earth. Some people were afraid of what Jia's presence might mean. Would other aliens come? Would they all be friendly? But most humans were excited and curious. 1 week after landing, Jia sat in a garden with Han. Birds sang in the trees. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors of red and gold. Earth has decided to build a new ship, Han told her. The fastest ever made. They want to reach your home world, to meet your people properly. Jia smiled. And they want me to go with them. Yes, as Earth's first ambassador to the Doraxi. And they want me to go too, as your guide to human ways. Jia felt happy tears in her eyes. I will see my home again. And my people will meet humans. Real humans, not just stories. Do you think they'll like us? Han asked. They will learn what I have learned, Jia said. That humans may be young in the stars, but your hearts are strong and good. You came across half the galaxy to save one lost person. That is the story I will tell my people. She looked up at the first stars appearing in the sky. Somewhere out there was her home. And now, because of human kindness, she would see it again. New journeys, she said softly. New beginnings. Together, Han added, taking her hand. Jia nodded. Together.